You probably thought that artillery on World of Tanks console couldn't get any worse. Today's video is going to show you exactly how it can. So how do we actually create an artillery piece that is worse than what we already have in the game? Well, we're going to have to look at this tank right here, the M53-55, the turreted artillery from the American line that can do 1450 alpha damage with 241 penetration on its AP rounds, and boy is that what we did. We made a tank destroyer artillery for the first time within World of Tanks, so yes, a completely novel and new tank build. How did we manage to do this? Well, we did whack on advanced loader, we put on traction system and advanced powertrain to boost up the speed of this tank, meaning that you can go 65 kilometers an hour forward and have the ability to pen every single tank that you'll come up against and have pretty decent reload to be able to deal that 1450 alpha damage. That's, to put that into perspective, that's the same alpha damage as the FV4005 at tier 10, and this is a tier 9, so yeah, we completely broke artillery with this tank. Let's see how playing like a tank destroyer within World of Tanks can actually work. So this video will mainly be involved around Eclipse. However, this is a full gameplay within the M53-55, playing it with only AP rounds, so there are no HE rounds, much like we did the tank destroyer where we only fired HE. This one is only AP and artillery. And of course, considering that this is essentially like playing a tank destroyer in terms of being able to either bounce or penetrate, we're playing it much like a long distance tank destroyer, which can actually shoot over buildings. So yeah, of course that's going to be more overpowered than what your traditional method of playing a tank destroyer is going to be like. Obviously, this does rely on actually hitting the target, and if you can get closer with this piece, then yes, you can have some really fun games and just ruin people's day, which is something that I've always enjoyed with artillery, at least when you're playing it and not receiving the damage. Is it entirely broken? Yeah, it is completely broken, but this video is showing you why this method of playing artillery makes the tank somewhat broken, but also fun to play in terms of being able to feel like you're impacting the game. And although from this current moment in time we don't feel like we're impacting the game that much because we are not a forward force within the game, that changes all very quickly, and you'll see that throughout the clips that we're focusing on later on in this video. This one, obviously what you want to do is make sure that you just put yourself in a good position at the beginning of the game to get some early damage, and that's exactly what we do within this game. You can see that there's obviously the predominant force of the enemy team moving forward on the right hand flank, but there will be people moving up very soon. Now, skipping ahead just a little bit so we can kind of get into the action, you can see here the Foch 155, well, we've got pretty good accuracy and 242mm of penetration, putting 1314 damage straight through that tier 10 tank destroyer. And yeah, this is where it becomes inordinately fun to play, and when you start losing the game it actually becomes even more fun, because at the end of the game the enemy tanks feel like they can come and get you because you're just an artillery, you're never going to be able to hit them, and if you do hit them you'll only be splashing them. But with the M53-55 having gun depression, having a turret, makes it very difficult to actually find opponents that you'll be able to hit easily. And this is exactly another moment at which you just see how ridiculous it is when you do fire AP, because you have the chance to, as you see here, set people on fire. Yeah, we just hit the tier 9 Object 705 for a ridiculous damage amount. Not only did we pen him for 1500, we also set him on fire, which is just, oh, it's so much fun when you manage to do this within the game. And we'll skip forward in just a second to the next area of this game where it just went even better. So here we go, IS-7 and the Carnarvon moving up on this flank towards us from behind, and of course we've only got a light tank, we've got a tank destroyer, and we've got an artillery trying to help us out, and we do have another tank destroyer up here, but they're all on fairly low health, so we could potentially all get taken out. But I just don't feel like that's the sort of thing that we're after in the M53-55. We don't just sit around, we don't just try and take some hits, we don't just try and shotgun, we take the fight to the opponents that we're going to be firing at. And right here, as soon as I know that they've both fired, well, that's it for one of them. As we move down, and it's time to say goodbye to the Carnarvon. 740 damage into him, and we're racking him, of course, making the spectacle. Now we're just going to drive around the I-7, who then misses us, and yeah, now we make him look like both fools as the rest of the team then progress around this flank. So from this point forward, it was just a case of trying to progress towards the opponents. There's only a Progetto left alive and the enemy artillery piece, so we're going to go and try and go TD mode. Unfortunately, by the time we're going to get there, it's very unlikely we'll get any damage, and yeah, that's entirely true. The Iron Rain managing to pick up the final damaging hit on the opponent here, even though the T100 even did that, and then the enemy artillery on the other side of the map against the tank destroyer does eventually get picked up. But 3,700 damage playing as a artillery that plays like a tank destroyer with its AP rounds is not bad, and we'll check out some amazing game clips that I managed to get over a period of games that will be coming up now. So how did it feel actually being able to just pump people for up to 1,700 alpha damage with this kind of setup in the M53-55? Well, it was completely broken. It was not fun for the opponents that I did manage to hit. And although you do see all of these game clips right now of me being able to go full aggression mode within the M53-55, which I do actually... I know it sounds bad, but I do actually think that you should try it out at some point in your World of Tanks career. Yes, this is probably not for everyone. Yes, you do have terrible games from time to time when you get one shot, because you do not have the hit points of a tank destroyer to be able to take any hits with this thing. So yeah, often you will get one shot, but with this, it's not about having some really mediocre games where you're just averaging like 2k damage, 3k damage in an artillery. It's all about those 1% games where you can go in like a tank destroyer, where you can really have an impact, and you can have those just unbelievably fun games where the enemy team just do not expect you to come around the corner at 60 kilometers an hour with an AP round firing straight at them and penning them for all of their health. And you'll certainly see that with a lot of the tier 8 heavies. They literally do not understand that you have 14 and 50 alpha and the ability to actually one-shot them from full health, which is so fun. And if you ever see a Tiger 1 with this tank, or a King Tiger, it's pretty much a guaranteed pen. And they're so big, heavy and chunky and slow that you can easily hit them 100% of the time. And I think that that's what makes this tank so much fun, and being able to just pull off some games where you just didn't think that you'd be able to do anything. Yeah, I think it's so much fun, and I would implore you all to try this out. And you can see just the number of clips that we managed to have with this thing. Am I saying it is 100% a broken tank class that needs to be removed? No, but the ability to pen pretty much anything that you come up against, as long as you hit them for 1450 on a tier 9 that can meet tier 7s that literally don't even have enough hit points to be able to survive one hit from this thing. Yeah, it kind of stems in my brain that doesn't seem too fair on the opponents that you're hitting if you do manage to hit them, and that is the key thing with this. Of course, you could run aiming, the equipment that actually reduces your aiming time to be able to really hone your shots in on each opponent, but we're going for an aggressive build. I'm not all about just faffing around at the back of the map all of the time, although the first game clip was a bit more passive. The other ones just haven't been at all. I really do hope you enjoyed this video, and of course like the video and check out how we played a tank destroyer like an artillery, kind of the opposite of this in World of Tanks on screen right now, and also how the IS-7 is the fastest and heaviest light tank in the game. Goodbye.